What is up, Cornhole fans, and welcome to Around the ACL. I am not Michelle Thompson. My hair is getting a little bit longer, but I don't think it's quite the length of that just quite yet. You got a bunch of dudes hosting Around the ACL this week. So Trey Ryder, Wally Castler, Jake Brannon, going to be talking all things cornhole with this week. We're going to talk about open number 11 and preview that up in Brighton, Michigan. We got a new segment that Michelle just throws on us and then runs away called We Got the Receipts. So we'll talk through what that looks like. We got Stay or Go, some of these pro teams that we're looking forward to this season. Will they stay together this year or they split up next year? And then, of course, we got game time that we'll do at the end. 4-bagger and floor bagger, send it and board it. Of course, would you rather? And so it's going to be a fun show. I have to say, though, first, normally I would talk about people's weekends, but Wally just spent a ton of time in Hawaii, so we got to give him at least a little bit of the floor to talk about that trip because it looked like a ton of fun.
Yeah, let's actually go back before that. I was in Panama, so I've been on the road already since February 26th, and it doesn't get any better. I'm basically doing laundry, taking it out of the suitcase, putting it in the machine, putting it back in the suitcase, and heading to Michigan tomorrow morning. So it is nonstop. I think my next day home is like April 8th. So I'm taking a trip out to Utah to visit my brother and check out his new, $750,000 million house that he bought for himself for some reason. And then Florida right after that. So, yeah, I'm on the road. It is good to be traveling again. I've been sitting in these slippers, I guess, here at the house for about a month and a half before that. So getting dressed and going through the morning routines is something different for me. But yeah, Panama was an absolute blast. The family was, more than willing to go above and beyond to make sure we had everything that we needed. My daughter, my niece looked beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Everything turned out perfect. The firework display that my uncle put on to show it's basically uptown versus downtown, and we're downtown. The firework display he put on to show uptown what was up is amazing. I'm like, $12,000 in fireworks in a third world country put on a heck of a display. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was something that lasted probably 35 minutes, and just the grand finale was awesome. So Panama, awesome. Went straight from there to Hawaii, basically. The 808 crew, Get Nuts, Kila Smee, Letitia Smee, Larry, and all that crew. It was really, really cool because you basically go from one family atmosphere to another. It was basically Hawaii is a fancier version of Panama. So it was kind of a nice little transition, but no matter where you're at, whichever country you're in or whichever state you're in, it was always where it needs to be done. We're going to help you get it done. And seeing everybody chip in and just make sure the tournament ran smoothly. The music that was happening in both of these places, it was so relaxing. I can't tell you, say what you want about Kendrick Lamar and the Super Bowl and everything going on here in the States with music. It was nice to just sit there in a chair and just vibe out to some nice weather, some good drinks. And there wasn't one moment where I felt hungry or I felt like I needed a beer because it was for 2 weeks. And unlike last year in Brighton, Michigan, where Jake needed a beer, I will not be drinking any alcohol for a long time. So, Jake, you can have them all, bud.
Hey, I'm well, I was going to say, Jake, well, you better have something to follow up Panama and Hawaii, Jake. That's worthwhile. Besides Maryland going to get bounced by Grand Canyon in the first round of the tournament.
Okay. Let's slow our roll right here, man. No, definitely didn't have a weekend in Hawaii like Wally did, but no, I had a good relaxed weekend because I'm traveling so much and I'm not used to it. So anytime I get a weekend where I don't have to worry about packing a suitcase and traveling across the country, I'm enjoying it. So what did I do this weekend? I packed a suitcase and headed about 3 hours east to Ocean City, Maryland, a nice little tourist destination in my area, right on the beach. Nice beach town. I played some cornhole. It was a big, huge cornhole tournament out there this weekend. Watched Logan Dupler win everything again, so shout out to him. No, but it was just a nice relaxing weekend, nice hotel right on the water. Got to spend some time down there, hit up a casino, hit up some really nice restaurants down there. Got to watch some fantastic college basketball games. Again, watched my University of Maryland Terrapins get crushed and another heartbreaking loss to Michigan. So getting ready for March Madness. But man, I'm so genuinely excited for this upcoming week. If you're any sort of into sports, this is the best week of the calendar year. We got spring training wrapping up. I don't know if you guys were up at 6 a.m. to watch the Chicago Cubs play the Los Angeles Dodgers in Tokyo, Japan, but I sure as heck was. First live baseball game of the season. That was a fantastic game to watch. So we got baseball season getting ready to start up. You got March Madness kicking off tonight with the play-in games. Shout out UNC. Shouldn't be in the tournament, but that's another discussion for another day. But man, I'm just so excited. My big sleeper team this year. Watch out for McNeese. The 12 versus 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He gives it right back.
Watch out for McNeese, man. But no, just, Brighton last year was a really fun event because it was also the same weekend, the first weekend of March Madness. So, Wally and I got in. We drove to downtown Detroit. We went to a nice casino. We sat in the sports book and watched some games. I'm hoping that's the exact same plan we have for this year because that would be pretty sick. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm excited for this Open. I'm excited for March Madness. I got a lot of things to look forward to this weekend here, Trey and Wally.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Just looking specifically at the registration as we get into talking about Brighton, Michigan. It is one of the largest opens of the year. It just surpassed Richmond as far as registrations go, so it is going to be a large event. It won't be as big as Myrtle Beach or Rock Hill, but it's getting close to the size of Rock Hill from the very beginning of the season. So a lot of great players traveling out there. It's going to be a very deep field on the amateur side as well as the pro and elite side. So let's start talking about it. We'll start with you, Wally. Maybe just on the singles side of things, anybody that you got your eye on when it comes to Brighton, Michigan.
Yeah, so kind of starting with Friday night, we got the ladies, the juniors, and the seniors going at it. Kiara Peterson and Dia Lee, two ladies in particular that I'm looking forward to. I want to see if Kiara can kind of hold down her home turf. As far as the juniors go, I've been watching a little bit online. Cash Chamness is on another level. I want to see if he can continue that going. And then Jackson Gore has just put on a phenomenal season from the word go, and I want to see if he can keep that going. Seniors, Donald Cup, again, defending his home turf. He had some great seniors run. Steve Schrader continue to do some Steve Schrader things. But in the singles tournament on Sunday, I want to see, can we get another Jeremiah Ellis against Matt Guy finale? It was phenomenal, 40-some rounds. The crowd was amazing. I want to see the crowd more than I want to see the players because the environment and the atmosphere that I've been watching cornhole in lately in person has been phenomenal. So I'm calling you out, Brighton, Michigan. Do what you guys did last year. I want to see it stepped up. Looking at the field, though, this field is stacked. It's kind of wide open. There's a lot of players that are in the top getting ready for the pro season in the right way. Gavin Cano, Sammy Soto, Mark Richards in the top of his form. Trey Birchfield will be there. So we're going to continue this title race where we see all these players who are at the top of the title chart just continue to try to add to the number and separate themselves for the field. Meanwhile, you got players, like Devin Harbaugh. Cheyenne's throwing great right now. Jordan Power, he just fell to Devin Harbaugh recently in a great match. But I almost gave away my hot take early, but I'm going to save it for later. But I'm looking forward to this field because last year, players that we weren't expecting it, they stepped up. Jimmy Humans, Tyler Stratton were some of the other players that were throwing really, really great on single Sunday. And I think just the Brighton, Michigan atmosphere that we had last year would be amazing. Can Jeremiah defend his home turf? This was his first title last year. We haven't seen much out of him yet this year. Let's see what he brings to the table.
You talked about being a stacked field. One thing that, that kind of just goes to support that, I was actually just looking at it before we go over to Jake. Devin Harbaugh is the number one player in the world tied, right? He is the 3 seed in the C bracket. Okay, so think about all the people that have to be tied for that number one in order for him to be that far down the list. There's that many of the top players in the country traveling to this event. So, Jake, over to you. Singles players looking at this weekend.
Yeah, same with Wally. I'll start on Friday night because Friday is always a big one with women's juniors and seniors. Just looking through this women's, juniors, and seniors list, we always get some of these amateur players that we're not super familiar with when we come to these events. But Wally kind of spoke it into existence. We got players like Maylin De La Cruz Gigante and Kiara Peterson, who are kind of representing their home turf here in Michigan. So, you have to assume they're going to be up near the top. But you got players. We're going to have that. The Sam Finleys. We're going to have the Cheyenne Guggenheims, and we're going to have. I don't believe Sarah Cassidy is registered for this event, so that's kind of good news for everybody else, right? Because Sarah Cassidy took it down in Monroe last weekend. But over to the senior side, the big story: Steve Schrader going for a 4-peat on this senior singles side. He has not lost a senior singles tournament in quite some time. But, if anybody's going to do it, I believe Donald Cupp is one of the players to do it. We're still waiting for the Damon Dennises and the Frank Modlins to show out in that senior singles. Have not really seen it yet. So maybe this is the last time to do it. If there's a good of time as any, it is now the last open before the pro season starts. I think we're going to see a lot of these tenured pro players start to get, I don't want to call it nervous or anxious, but they're going to be a little more frantic because this is the last big event before the pro season starts. They got to start figuring out what is clicking and what isn't clicking, so they're not diving in with their head above water for the first signature next month. Junior singles, obviously, always stacked. Looking through this list, it is just absolutely ridiculous. Zach Aiken, Jackson Gore, Jaden Ellis. Jaden Ellis, kind of a sleeper pick. I don't know if you can consider him a sleeper pick, but again, another one of these players playing in their home state, not too far of a commute to this event. So you got to give them some sort of edge. Jace Webb, another strong player out of Ohio, not West Virginia. Don't get that mixed up again. Jace Webb, an incredible young gun. Nobody really heard of him until this season. So junior singles is always going to be incredible to watch. And then we go over to the main event, Singles Sunday. We talk about this. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players who have a season PPR average above a 10. And of course, it's always led by Matt Guy, an average 10.54 PPR. A video of his came up on my timeline the other day on Facebook where he played Ghost 10 in his barn, in his backyard, shooting all airmails, and he won 21-6. People always talk about who has the best airmail in the game, and I would still have to give my vote to Matt Guy right now. He is absolutely incredible, but the way that these opens have kind of felt recently, it's kind of been, Mark Richards has been on top. Luckily for Mark Richards, Josh Quinn not in attendance this weekend. So Mark Richards should have no problem winning his bracket, you would think, right? Because nobody's really beaten him in a bracket in quite some time besides Josh Quinn. I expect other players like Tony Smith to make a really deep run in his final event. Jay Rubin has the second highest PPR in the entire field. We haven't really been talking about him much, at least not on the singles side. So I kind of expect him to have one good final run before the pro season starts as well. And then just looking down the list, some of these other players like Devin Harbaugh, you mentioned, tied for one of the best players in the world right now. He has the 13th best PPR in the entire pro singles bracket, which is just crazy to think about because he was on the top of everybody's power rankings list earlier in the season. I could go on for 20 more minutes about this singles list. Absolutely stacked. Singles Sunday is going to be incredible to watch, Trey and Wally. You just got to have to tune in and check it out.
I will say a 10, they're playing a Ghost 10 with only airmails and winning 21-6. That should, I don't know how, but that's illegal in some way. That is violating some law of some type.
I know we have a lot of time at Worlds, Trey, but can we please do like an Airmail City Airmail only tournament or something? I need to put this debate to the end of who has the best airmail. Right now, visually, it looks like AJ Sims is have one of the best airmails in the game. Jay Rubin's always going to put his name in the hat. Matt Guy has just been goated for a long time when it comes to airmails. I need to have a title handed to somebody, please.
And keep in mind, again, Matt Guy has once again changed his throw. He is no longer stepping again in that video. So will that play some sort of factor this weekend? We're not sure, but he looks super confident with it right now.
Interesting. All right, Wally, jumping over onto the double side of things. Who you watching for this weekend in Brighton?
All right, double side again. Anytime that you go to the sign up registration list, I look right away. Who's going? Is Jeremiah Ellis and Devin Harbaugh on the field? Yes, they're going to be there. Adam Hissner and Trey Birchfield, your world champs, are they going to be there? Yes, they're going to be there. My pick to finish number 1 overall, Gavin Cano and Sammy Soto. Yes, they're going to be there. And then the new super team that we thought, Jay Rubin and Ryan Trader, he's going through his things. They're going to be there too. I'll tell you a sleeper team that I want to keep an eye on and that I think most people should look at this pro season, Justin Rule and Tanner Halbert. They're going to be there in attendance as well. I do got to credit to Jake, though, for picking singles and not saying anything about Logan Dupler. I don't think I had that on my bingo card. So Logan Dupler, Jake hates you. Just want to throw that note out there real quick. And then Braden Wilson and Levi Haddock, I think another sleeper team that most people are overlooking. They're not normal pro partners. AJ is going to be throwing with, I believe, Caitlin this Open. So even the mix and match teams that we're getting coming into this tournament have a chance of taking it down. I'm more looking forward to the doubles action than I am the singles action because the doubles field, I think, is wide open.
Yeah, and if we look at specifically the rankings again, as I was just jumping in, we have 3 teams tied for number 1, all 3 of those teams in the field. And the first 4 teams your first 3 teams you mentioned, Wally, if you throw in Tony Smith and Mark Richards, they are evenly split 2 and 2, some in A bracket, some in B bracket. So it's not as if one bracket is overly loaded in comparison to the others. So Jake, thoughts on doubles for Brighton this weekend?
I almost kind of have to disagree with what Wally said. He mentioned that it was wide open, and I agree in some aspect that it is wide open for one half of the final match. But to me, and as someone who has watched what has unfolded in these past couple of events, it almost feels like it's not a discussion about who are we going to see in the finals. It is who will Mark Richards and Tony Smith be playing in the finals. The way that they have been playing these past 2 events has been incredible. They've obviously won Pro Elite doubles in the past 2 events. I mean, they've taken down teams they destroyed Jamie Graham and Eric Davis in the overall finals in Monroe a couple weeks ago. I mean, and looking through this list, yes, they are absolutely stacked. I mean, Jeremiah Devin Harbaugh, Zach Aiken, Riley Shaw, Gavin Cano, Sammy Soto, Jordan Power, Cheyenne Bubenheim. All of these incredible teams that are going to be there to give Tony and Mark a run for their money. But as it sits right now, the way that these 2 have been playing both individually and together as a team, I, honest to goodness, can't give you a definitive answer on if they would lose or not, because I don't think they will. The way that they've been playing right now. I mean, they are getting hot at exactly the right time. If I had to pick some teams to look out for, I mean, I think Ryan Windsor and Nico Morales are due. I don't think they have lived up to their expectations at all. I mentioned Jace Webb, him and Zach Smith. Zach Smith out of West Virginia, he's been on a tear locally. I've been watching him play as well. I'm really kind of curious about this Ryan Trader and Jay Rubin team. Ryan Trader, we all know, has been in a little bit of a slump recently, did not have a very good performance in Monroe this past weekend. So can Jay Rubin do something to get him out of that slump, or are they just going to, be a middle of the pack team until Ryan Trader can figure something out? And you're getting too close to the signature season to start figuring things out. So, I mean, that's something I'm keeping my eye on. And, you say I hate Logan Dupler. I do hate Logan Dupler. He stinks. But I got to give credit where credit's due. I love this team of Logan Dupler and Spencer Fabian are interesting to say the least. They kind of have differing bag qualities on what they like to throw. But I don't think it's going to really matter. I think this is a really strong team. The only thing they don't have going for them is that because they haven't played together, they are going to be a lower seed in their bracket. So they may have a tougher road than, say, a Mark Richards and Tony Smith will, because they're the number 1 overall seed. I mean, just looking through it, Justin Burton Jr., Logan Chamberlain, they were my pick to win doubles last weekend in Monroe. It came up just a bit short, but they're still as good as ever. I mean, looking through it, Ryan Wiedenfeld, Ryan Smith, I mean, nobody's talking about them. They're a 2 seed in their bracket. So that they have what it takes to win. Will they? I don't know. I feel like Ryan Smith has been on a little bit of a struggle recently as well. He had a pretty good run in his regional last weekend at Beltway Baggers. Shout out Michael and Wendy over in Beltway. I mean, but looking through the list, I mean, how about Justin Stranger, Kyle Petering? They finished second in their bracket at an open earlier in the year. I do like that Justin Rule and Tanner Halber pick. And I mean, again, same with singles. I can go down this list and talk about these players for another 30 minutes, but we're going to be seeing Noah Almanza this next weekend as well. Something we have not seen in a very, very long time. Noah Almanza is a super interesting pick for me. I don't know what he's been doing in his free time, but he hasn't been at these opens. So I wonder what he's going to do.
All right, I have two takeaways from Jake's monologue there. Number one, whatever the opposite of a fan club is, that's what Jake is for Logan Dupler. So, like, people give me crap for what I said about not a chance earlier. Like, hey, Jake is far beyond whatever that is for Logan Dupler. Number two, I wish I could take the video of the little bit of monologue that he just did on Tony Smith and Mark Richards and show it to Jake like a month and a half ago. It just see the contrast.
I'd like to say that I'm the reason that they've been winning this entire time, right? Because if you think about it,
stealing a line for later from me.
I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, I said it. I said they need to get their heads out of their asses, or they need to figure something out. And what do? They said, you know what, Jake Brandon, you're right. I'm going to get my head out of my ass. And then what have they done? They haven't lost since.
So. That leads us perfectly into our next news segment, which is We Got the Receipts. So this is an opportunity for us, and this is a fun little segment. We're going to just try it out. And Michelle came up with this, and then she just ditches. So we get to decide exactly the format of how it goes. But the idea is for some of us to maybe bring about some past receipts, good or bad, that we may have. I think we'll keep it very nice in this first one and only talk about our personal receipts. But I am absolutely coming much better armed next time we do this to tell Jake how many times that he was completely and utterly wrong, right? So I'm gonna go first here. So I have a couple elements. One was kind of what we just talked about. I think the receipts, it was a little bit funny with Tony Smith and Mark Richards and how that progression has happened. But one thing that I did was, and I'm going to talk smack about people that are not here, which is the best thing to do in a public setting when they can't defend themselves, right? So I have the Stevie Award predictions for the 2024 season prior to that season starting. So this was March of last year before we got into the big national events or the signatures this season. So I have mine, and I'm going through some things that I found interesting. I had Man of the Year, Mark Richards, okay? If I was this year, I would have looked brilliant. Last year, a very disappointing season. Mark Richards finishes 45th in singles last year. God-awful prediction on my part for Mark Richards to win that. Women of the Year, Cheyenne Bubenheim, layup. I mean, not much I can take credit for. Team of the Year, I did have Adam Hissner and Trey Birchfield. And although they didn't finish Team of the Year, they did become world championships. This was kind of during that time period in which they won many different opens. Then they had a quiet national and even into the signature season before picking back up at the world championships. MVP, I had Mark Richards, obviously wrong there. But I will say, of the analysts that we did here, which ends up being Trey, then Anthony, Jeff, and Michelle. So nobody on this call besides me. Everybody picked Ryan Trader, but I went with Jeremiah Ellis. So Jeremiah Ellis made me look a little bit smart there. Breakout player, Blaine Rozier, bad pick. Comeback player, Tyler Poitras, did not actually come to fruition at all. Ends up leaving halfway through the season. So not there. Some other ones I'll just pick and choose here. Anthony Ione, Caleb Batson, Man of the Year.
Ooh.
I thought my Mark Richards pick was bad. Not great. Team of the Year had Fisher Hamilton and Gavin Cano. Just saying. Breakout player Ethan Walker. He looked really smart. Walker didn't win it, but that was a good one. Comeback player, 1 year off. He went with Jack Gore. Jack Gore didn't have a great season last season. If he had waited that one more year, would have looked really good. Jeff McCarriger went Alex Rawls, Man of the Year. Not too far off from that. MVP went Justin Burton Jr. Last season wasn't too far out. Breakout player Jack Gore, 1 year off. Woman of the Year went with a kind of an upset pick with Bella Suprenant. That didn't come to fruition. Michelle's, again, went with Mark Richards. Comeback player went with Noah Almanza. Noah didn't have as great of a season last year, but breakout player of the year went with Steve Schrader. I thought that was interesting. He didn't have as good as a year as necessarily we expected. And then, that was all of them. Okay, so anyway, wanted to go through those. That I'll kick off receipts, and now I'll turn it over to Wally, see if he's got any good receipts for us.
Yeah, good segue right there with Steve Schrader, because my good is whenever we were tearing down last season, we kind of got the feeling or the vibe or maybe some rumors going around that Damon Dennis was going to step away for a little bit and, in my opinion, open up the seniors field a little bit more. And I said, with Steve Schrader being able to travel to all these opens, Steve Schrader is going to be the big senior on campus. You know what I mean? He's going to be the one for us all to keep an eye on, and he has lived up to that every step of the way. And I don't know if we give him enough credit. You know what I mean? Like, Steve Schrader is a guy who should not be having a difficult time finding a partner. He should not be a guy who's having a difficult time finding any sponsors or anything like that. He deserves all the credit that he's putting out there, because he's been relevant for about 3 or 4 years now, and he's at the top. I think every other senior is chasing Steve Schrader as far as who's going to take down singles, doubles a little bit tighter. I mean, he's had, I think we're at open number 11. He's had 27 partners this year, it seems like. So Steve Schrader, that was my good. My bad, and I'm going to say this very quietly because the guy is going to say it very loudly for the rest of eternity. Jordan Power and Cheyenne Bubenheim, I was wrong, okay? You guys are a lot better than I thought you would be, and you guys came here to St. Louis for the Throwdown tournament. You looked very good in person. I wasn't sure it was going to translate to the pro talented fields, but I'm wrong. I'll eat my – is it eat my shoe? What's the saying on that? I don't know. Either way, I was wrong. Jordan Power, Cheyenne Bubenheim, you guys are a lot better than I thought you'd be.
All right, Jake, let's get these receipts out of the way.
I got you. One thing, I completely agree on you with Steve Schrader. We were talking, we were tearing down in Monroe. 10 opens. Steve Schrader has won senior doubles 5 of those 10 opens with 4 different partners. Crazy stat to think about there. All right, let's get into my receipts real quick. I'll start with my good. December 18th, I said Jackson Gore would be on the ballot for both Comeback Player of the Year and MVP. And I'd like to think that is still accurate, having an incredible season so far with an open win and a second overall in Myrtle Beach as well. So, I mean, I like.
And you said that before Myrtle Beach. That's a good pull. Good pull.
I'm okay with that. I like that one. Let's go. When I gave my singles power rankings list, I had Ryan Schrader as my number 2. And this is kind of a toss-up because I believe he's still in that tied for number 1 slot right now. If not, he's right there. But just what I've seen out of these past few weeks and months from Ryan Schrader, I do not believe that he is a number 2 player in the world right now. It's kind of like those point totals are misleading because he got all of those points early in the season in October and November, but has not done much at all in December through March, what we're here today in March. So I like to think that's kind of, I mean, it's obviously, I think it is a bad pick right now with him being number 2. I don't think I could justify him being in my top 10, 15, maybe even 20 right now, for being completely honest. So that was a bad pick on me. That was a bad pick on my part. On my doubles power rankings, I had Tony Smith and Mark Richards and Gavin Cano and Sammy Soto 6th and 7th respectively in the rankings. And I believe they are clearing away the number 1 and 2 doubles teams in the world right now. So I think that was a bad pick. And then obviously what I said around the ACL a few weeks ago about Mark and Tony, stinking and having to get their head out of their butts, or they're going to have to look to find a new doubles partner for next year. That was a bad take because they have not lost an event since I've said that. They've won every open since I have mentioned that. So that was a bad take on my part as well.
If there's one thing I've learned from Trey Ryder and commentating, it's if you're wrong, just say that you motivated the players to do better. So
yeah,
you fix everybody here.
Yes, it's always a positive. You just spin it as a positive. This guy's trash. Logan Dupler is the worst person ever. But if he does well, you get to take all the credit, Jake.
I motivated him. But I guess I will put a pin in, future receipts from what I have said about the pro teams on social media this past week. Because good God, they do not like me right now, and I don't care. Stephen A. Smith
and deleted so much because I'm like, I disagree.
Look, and I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm here to tell you right now, I don't care. I straight up, I do not care. You can say whatever you want. Let's see what the results show at the end of the year. So I'm putting a pin in that receipt. If I'm wrong, hey, I'm wrong. But if you better not let me be right.
Based on what I saw.
What's that?
Yeah, based on what I saw on social media, did you predict anybody to have a good season, or did you just say every team would finish dead last? Because I'm pretty sure that's just what you said.
I think the Arizona Burn are the best team in the league. I think the Pennsylvania Ringers are going to make another good run. I think the Missouri Maize and Florida Freeze are going to be good as well, but everybody else stinks.
Everybody else stinks.
Vegas High Rollers, worst team in the league. I think they'll be the worst team in the league by at least 5 games.
Wow. All right, so we skipped all these segments to go straight to hot takes.
Sorry.
You can keep that as your hot take there.
Calm down. I got to calm down.
Okay, we're going to jump into kind of another newish segment, and this time it is stay or go. Stay or go. Will these teams, these doubles teams who are partners this season, be together by the time we start next pro season? That is the game here. So, first up, we'll start with Wally. Wally, Jordan Power and Cheyenne Bubenheim. Stay or go?
So one common denominator between all these teams, I feel, is that they were sponsorship bag-driven teams that we put together. And the offseason that we had this last year, I felt was that as a whole. Everybody's chasing contracts, trying to get the most money. So I don't know. I think it's all going to depend on, one, how well they do at Worlds, and two, how good Cheyenne does in women's, because the women's field is kind of catching up to her now. I'm going to go ahead and say no, they don't stick together, just because there's possibly another sponsorship opportunity out there that might pay more money. And in this world, you got to take all your expenses and make sure that they're paid for.
Jake.
Yeah, when I was looking through this list, it kind of made me realize that we don't always get a lot of pro doubles teams stick together, like at least not as much as it seems like, right? But then you go through the list and you're like, oh, this guy's with a new partner. No, that's not who we was with last year. Well, that's not somebody else. So, I mean, I'm looking through this list. I could make an argument to say that none of these teams will stay together next year, but you never know. Same thing, like Wally said with Cheyenne and Jordan. I like that take on sponsorship, with Cheyenne, as good as she is, does another sponsorship, because I don't think, has she had a different bag sponsor every year? Because it was Titan this year. It was all cornhole last year. Was it Ultra the year before that? Or, I mean, if we were going down the line.
I think it's every 2 years, I think, is when she's been cycling.
Yeah, I think she was with all cornhole at least 2 years. So,
okay.
But yeah, Ultra before that, yes.
But that makes me feel a little bit better. Then maybe she sticks with Titan for another year and sticks with Jordan for one more year after this. But I mean, it's kind of a toss-up for me. But right now, I'm gonna say no. I mean, and really for the exact reason that Wally gave, because of this sponsorship agreement that could happen down the line.
Ethan Walker and Cody Henderson. Wally.
I'm gonna say no as well. I think it's been better than I thought it would be. I think they're performing a lot better than I thought they would be, but it's more fun than chemistry, for this team. And it took Mark and Tony a year to get their chemistry figured out. I don't know if I'm ever going to see Ethan and Cody get their chemistry on the same page like that. So I'm going to say no, just because I think Ethan had a good run in singles, got a good contract. They were trying to figure out who to pair with him. It worked out pretty well, to my opinion, so far. But I think next year he'll probably go with somebody that he's more familiar with and has a little bit more chemistry with.
Jake?
Yeah, I got to say no as well. I mean, I think it's kind of really contrasting personalities. You have Cody Henderson, who is a seasoned and aged veteran in the game, who wants to tell you how to do everything. And then you got Ethan Walker, who was a loudmouth, run it and gun it type of player, who, when he gives you an advice and Cody doesn't like that, Cody's just going to do whatever he wants. And Ethan may not like that necessarily. So, I mean, I think talent-wise, they're a great team. They're top 15, 20 team, but chemistry-wise, I just don't think they're meshing as well as they could be if they had different players. I think Ethan Walker will have a great run in singles this season. I think he will get another good bag sponsorship, and I think he will find somebody else along the road to match better with him in the pro division next season.
Next up, Jay Rubin and Ryan Trader. Wally.
If any team were to stay together on this list, I would probably say yes to this one because I believe Jay Rubin came back for a reason. And I think Ryan Trader can give him that run that he needs. Ryan just got to figure out whatever he's dealing with. But once he gets there, I got all the faith in the world of Ryan Trader being a top player again. And Jay Rubin, he may have the name, he may have the sponsorship backing, but it's going to be hard to find a top, 10 potential partner out there in the free agent market. And I think Ryan Trader can get back to form. So I'm going to say yes, they stay together.
I hate agreeing with him so often, but I think I agree as well on this one. Yeah, like Wally said, Ryan Trader's in a really big slump right now, but there is plenty of time to get out of it. I think he is working his way towards that. I saw him throw at Monroe. He has a little bit of a different throwing motion, a little bit of a different form. So if he can work out the kinks in that and get back to his star power, I think this is a really good potential team. And if we look back, I know it was a long time ago. We think October, November. I mean, Trader won singles, and then him and Rubin won doubles in the same event. I mean, they smoked everybody. So they have what it takes to win. They have the good chemistry already together. Can they overcome this little obstacle, this little bump in the road right before signature season starts? I think they can. Now, they may not be successful right away. It may take 1 or 2, maybe even 3 events. But when we get near that 3rd, 4th, and 5th signature, I would be shocked if they weren't a top 15, 20 team in the world.
Ian Cripps and Jimmy Humans. Wally.
I'm going to say no on this one. Again, same thing with Cody and Ethan. They've done very well. They've probably superseded people's expectations. Don't know if I think this is the best fit for either one of them, really. I don't know. I just haven't seen enough on the court yet for them to be there. Talent-wise, I think Ian's never been better. Jimmy Humans is, I think, kind of at a standstill right now. He's not getting better. He's not getting worse from what I'm seeing. Again, maybe travel goes into that, but I just feel like there's a better fit out there for them. And this is one where I don't know what the answer is.
Jake.
I'm going to disagree, but also agree at the same time. It's weird, right? Because you think Jimmy Humans, let's look through his past pro partners. He's played with Storm Hogue, hasn't been that successful. He's played with Brady Foster, hasn't been super successful either. So let's switch everything up. Let's go down to a younger player in Ian Cripps. Maybe Jimmy Humans can be that mentor towards him and kind of mold him into the type of player that Jimmy Humans is today, which is a very solid upper to mid-leveled player in the pro division is Jimmy Humans. I mean, let's think about it. He made his bracket final at the World Championships last year, only losing to Eric Davis. So, he has the potential. But, I mean, this team is so intriguing to me, right? Because they've also made an overall finals at an open this year. They lost to, guess who? Logan Dupler and Levi Haddock way earlier in the season. So, I mean, I think they have that chemistry down, but this team is just super confusing. Like Wally said, I don't know whether to put them in the top 30 or say they won't even requalify next year.
Trey, did you hear it right there? That was the Logan Dupler plug that he was waiting to get out.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
But I think if they can figure something out and get themselves a good run or string of runs, they're going to be like, okay, this can work. We can build on this. Let's run it back again next year.
Let me throw this out there real quick. What do you think about maybe Jimmy Humans and Cody Henderson next year? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I think they have very differing personalities. Jimmy's a very quiet guy who likes to keep to himself, and Cody Henderson is pretty much the exact opposite. I don't know if they would work. I don't know if they would work well at all.
I think it would work.
That's kind of quirky. It is a quirky thought, though. I know where you're going with it. Jake and Jack Gore, Wally.
I'm gonna say no. I think that Jack and Jake are just too familiar with each other. It's Jack wants to say stuff sometimes. He's holding himself back. Jake is getting to that certain, level now where he's kind of coming in his own as well. And I think they're just around each other too much. I think they are another team that would be better kind of splitting up and getting different partners.
Jake.
Bingo. No, they're not staying together next year. Absolutely not. I'm not going to say they hate playing with each other, but they borderline hate playing with each other. We're being honest. All they do is argue and bicker, which stinks because they have so much freaking potential, man. If they can figure something out, but no, I think especially with Jack, because Jackson is having a career year of his. If he can continue this path towards an MVP caliber season, absolutely, he's gonna have no problem finding a new partner for next year. So no, they're not gonna stay together next year.
Last one, real quick. Batson and Hicks. Wally.
I'm gonna say no. I think Batson might step away for a little bit. Just not really seeing much out of him. Hicks probably the same situation. I mean, I feel like they're both just kind of living life right now. How important is cornhole? I'm not sure.
Jake.
This is the one that scares me too. I'm going to say no because, I mean, we got to think about the Pro Division shrinking next year. This is the one team that I'm not 100% sure they will requalify next year, especially with the way that they have been playing this past season. And I think those outside factors also go into it. Both wanted to take a little bit of a break from the game per se. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen. But you got to think about that. If they play how they both did last year, I think it is going to be very, very difficult for them to requalify.
Jake just continuing to add enemies on top of enemies to the list. So just keep on coming.
John Cena can turn heel, so can Jake Brennan. Let's do it.
All right. This is our around the ACL game time. We start with four bagger and floor bagger, our top moment of the week and our low moment of the week. Wally, I gotta imagine here. This is you got some options to pick here. So let's start with you, four bagger and floor bagger.
Yeah, four bagger, you knew was coming. The Kai House Strong tournament, phenomenal job running it, put everything together. It actually rained in Hawaii, and they're like, it never rains. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it was weird because it was raining, but it was still sunny and beautiful everywhere. Like the rain was hitting the ground and steam was coming off it. The bands were just playing through it. There was a puddle around all the electric in the band, and the bands were so good. Everyone's like, one more song. And I'm like, guys, we're pushing the limit here. They're going to get shocked. But, I had to show them who was the big Bolto on campus whenever it came to the Crew Cup, man, taking down the Crew Cup championship. So, yeah, shout out to the Hawaii people. That's my top floor bagger for the week. My floor bagger, though, all the travel. I thought it was a good idea when I booked all this. Like, I was like, ooh, I'm going to Panama. Ooh, I'm going to Hawaii. Ooh, I'm going to Utah. But, like, sitting in the airports and sitting on the planes it's starting to wear on me, and I'm only a third of the way through it.
That's a lot. Jake.
Yeah, I mean, mine are pretty simple. Four bagger, I talked about it at the top of the show. Best weekend in sports history coming up right now, March Madness. I'm going to be glued to my TV for the next about week and a half, and there's nothing that anybody can do to stop me, not even commentating cornhole. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I'm just kidding for legal reasons. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to be watching basketball. I'm commentating cornhole. That's really ridiculous. My floor bagger, though, I also talked about it, is just getting absolutely roasted on social media, man. This is a new experience for me. I'm not used to just people saying that I suck so much. Like, I don't know how you guys do it, but that's probably one of my floor baggers. But I guess if I had to pick another one real quick, traveling back home from my beach vacation this past week, and I have to go over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. It's a very long bridge, but it was also super windy. So when it gets too windy, they will close the bridge with no notice or anything. So I sat in traffic for about 3.5 hours Sunday afternoon, just in a dead standstill. I couldn't get out, couldn't do anything. So that kind of sucked, waiting for that bridge to reopen because of the high wind. So that was probably my bigger floor bagger of the weekend.
Me, real quick, four bagger. I have a new bar hopping list for Disney Springs. If anybody needs it, I got to experiment on that this weekend. So if anybody needs any tips and tricks, I got to check that out. Low moment of the week, horrific officiating from the ACC officials. Clemson robbed of a finals appearance. We're not going to talk too much about it, but that's my four-bagger and floor-bagger. All right, Senator Board It. We'll make this a little bit quicker. Senator Board It. So just giving us an idea of something and whether we want to buy in, we want to do it or not. We'll start with you, Wally.
Senator Board It. Moving to your favorite tourist spot, your favorite vacation destination.
Oh, I'm very passionate about this because my wife has to go through this all the time. She's like, why don't I just move to Orlando and go and live in the Disney area? Because my wife loves Disney, right? But we've decided you want to be close, right? The closer you can get, the better, but you don't want to make it to where you can do it at any point. You need to have some level of planning around it. So what we've decided is 3 to 4 hours away from a drive is the ultimate distance that you want to be from your favorite tourist location.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one. I feel like if you lived at your favorite tourist destination, I feel like you'd either get bored of it too quickly or kind of lose that magic of it being a great tourist destination. It kind of just becomes your life. And I feel like, if you stay at the same place for so long, you kind of just get bored and tired of it. So, yeah, I like staying away from it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm boarding it as well. Just need contrast.
All right, Jake, you can pick one of the two. Run out of time. Senator Board It or Would You Rather? You can pick one of the two.
100% Would You Rather. I've been asking everybody this. I'd like to get their explanation. Would you rather? I will give you $1 million right now, no questions asked. Or I will give you $1 million for every Skittle you pull out of a bag. But the second you pull a green Skittle, you lose all of your money and you cannot play again, ever.
I'm lost.
Well, so why wouldn't I pick the Skittle? Because okay, you're saying
because I'll give you $1 million right now, boom. Or I'll give you this bag of Skittles and you can get $1 million every Skittle you pull out. But if that first Skittle you pull out is green, you don't win anything.
You can quit anytime.
You lose out on a guaranteed $1 million.
You can quit anytime.
Yeah, but
you can quit anytime. You can quit.
Give me the bag. I'm pulling 5 and walking.
Okay, but if you pull a green,
how many? All right, let's just do this math really quick. Okay, so there's how many color Skittles are there? 6?
I think 6. Yeah, red, orange, yellow, green, blue.
So the only way I don't get more than $1 million, the only way I don't get $2 million is if I pull a green Skittle on one of the 2 pulls, right? So I need to be 5 out of 6 times 5 out of 6, which is 25 over 36.
Would you rather take $1 million or gamble for $6 million?
Yeah, 69% chance. It's nice. 69% chance that I get $2 million, or 100% chance that I get $1 million. That's really the question.
I feel like 100% chance is always better than 69% chance.
You know what? I'm going to take the $1 million after doing all that.
There you go.
I know you want to be quick, but I got a good one. It's for this time of year. Would you rather have a perfect March Madness bracket or pitch a perfect baseball game?
Well, I think I get to go to Mars, right? Isn't that what they're offering now on X? That I get to go to Mars with a perfect bracket? So I'll take that one.
The amount of money you would win with a perfect March Madness bracket is insurmountable. Millions upon if you pick that bracket and then you enter it in all of the contests you would win millions and millions of dollars.
All right. Got to do hot takes quick. We got a minute. Wally, go.
My hot take finals will be Jeremiah Ellis and Devin Harbaugh against Cheyenne and Jordan Power. Jeremiah and Devin are going to take that one down. And then in singles, Ryan Wiedenfeld gets his first single title.
Wow, that is hot. Jake.
Hot take. Screw it. Logan Dupler wins singles. Get me out of here.
Oh, my God. I can't even look. Hot take. Clemson gets back to the Elite Eight. They take down McNeese. Then they get Purdue. They smash Purdue. And then Gonzaga beats Houston. So Clemson has to play Gonzaga, not the number 1 seed. They get back into the Elite Eight. That's all the time we got, folks, this week. Shout out Logan Dupler. Hope you're a good sport because Jake hates you. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Michelle's back next week. You can stop looking at our ugly mugs. And we will see you this weekend in Brighton, Michigan. It'll be a fun one. We'll see you there.
Go Terps.